Only about 35% of the world's major rivers are still free-flowing, and now the Paraguay-Parana River is fighting to stay on that list. This river system, stretching over 3,500 kilometers, connects many South American countries. Brazil, Bolivia, Argentina, and most importantly Paraguay all use this river as an important source of fresh water. It crosses significant landscapes including the Pantanal, the largest tropical wetland on the planet, and the fertile Parana Delta. For millions, it is transport, food, and clean water. For countless ecosystems, it is an essential lifeline. But now, the Paraguay-Parana River is faced with its greatest challenge. Severe droughts have pushed the river to an all-time low. Wetlands are drying out, and the new dependable flood pulses that organize its landscapes are disappearing. What is causing this unraveling? In the next few minutes, we will explore how the intersection of climate change and human intervention is reshaping one of South America's last great free-flowing river systems, and what it means for its future. While short droughts are common in South America, the current drought that has engulfed the Paraguay-Parana basin is far from ordinary. The region has had one of its longest and driest spells in decades since 2019. Scientific data links this extended drought to a trend of more frequent occurrences of La Niña. La Niña is a natural climate pattern that reduces rainfall by shifting atmospheric circulation. Throughout the 2022 wet season, parts of the basin received just 44% of their average precipitation. However, there is more to it than that. The 2023 to 2024 El Niño was supposed to reverse this trend. Instead, it brought continued stability and failed precipitation to key river sources. Meanwhile, rising temperatures are making the problem worse, with regional warming up to 0.4 degrees Celsius per decade. Soils are drying faster, evapotranspiration is growing, and river recharge is decreasing. The long-term trend is clear. Wet seasons are shrinking, and recovery periods are becoming shorter. NASA satellites confirm that the Upper Parana subbasin saw the highest water loss in the entire La Plata basin during the 2020 to 2022 drought. This isn't just a dry season, it's a climate shift with deeply geological consequences for the river system.
The river, acting as a single throughway in which many nations act, is unfortunately susceptible to manipulation from many different sources in a similar manner to how it acts as a single basin for the whole area. One such use case is dams. Primarily developed by Brazil along the upper Parana basin, the presence of dams was to tap into the water as a natural resource for power. While it's a resource well suited for energy production, and the presence of dams was found to alter the hydrological processes of the surrounding regions as reservoir retention practices, up to 260 kilometers cubed, was found to worsen flood risk. This is due to the extreme amount of flow the area has, with the fact that 75 to 80% of the flow entering the corridor provides from the basin sector. The land along the corridor is also used by some for agricultural purposes. While efficient for this use case, the change-up in terrain through deforestation and grazing activity fundamentally alters the function, disconnecting the corridor from what would be usable wetland. The change means an increase of sediment and precipitation runoff, altering the carrying capacity of the water's ecosystem functions, and ultimately risking flooding of the now stressed floodplains.
As we discussed, climate change and human activities pose severe threats to the Paraguay-Parana river system independently. Unfortunately, the combined effect of these two problems is far more severe. The climate-driven droughts of recent years have drastically reduced rainfall and stream flow. Instead of being naturally replenished, however, this river is now choked by physical modifications that hinder recovery. Dams built throughout the Upper Parana hold back both water and sediment, interrupting natural flood cycles that wetlands rely on. Simultaneously, widespread deforestation and grazing separate the river from its floodplains, replacing these sponge-like forests with hard surfaces that drain water too quickly. This leads to a corridor that can't regulate itself. Sediments don't settle where they should, water doesn't linger long enough to support ecosystems, and heavy rainfall leads to flooding and runoff rather than recharge. Essentially, the river is caught in a positive feedback loop. Warmer, drier conditions dry it out, and those interventions made to capitalize on its power only speed up its decline. The end result is an impaired and weakened waterway that now struggles to fill either ecological or human needs. risking permanent disruption of one of South America's most vital hydrological systems.
With everything said and done, the decay of this beautiful, natural landmark is on the hands of industry and the way we treat the environment. Increases of emissions, with corporations being the biggest offenders, exacerbate the speeds and effects of climate shifts, thus making drying effects worse and the usage of the corridor as a tool, such as with dams and an agricultural landscape, further this even more. Nature exists to provide and assist those who live within it and around it. Human interaction has turned into the biggest instance of give an inch, take a mile. While it may not be fully clear now, staying on this path will ultimately destroy natural resources like the river, and with it, all the marine life, vegetation, ecosystem lifting that comes with it. Even if it's too late to stop the damage that's already been done, environmental efforts can and should still be made to save both the river and things along with it.